Ladies and gentlemen, from Mohegan Sun in Uncasville, Connecticut, this is Shobox, the new generation.
And nobody gonna give you nothing for nothing. You gotta work for what you get. You gotta get them shots off. Left hook, right hand.
Both hands up, both hands up. Let's go. Go out there, focus on the job that has to be done. This is what it takes to be champ. This is what it takes right here, baby.
Opportunity only knocking once. Let's go.
Tonight from Mohegan Sun, Connecticut, it's the start of a fresh year of fights on Shobox, the new generation. We ended 2004 with a Fight of the Year candidate. Tonight, we begin our 5th calendar year of Shobox on a winter night in the Northeast. We're back with a boxing doubleheader on Showtime. Hello again, everybody. I'm Nick Charles, and welcome to a ringside seat. Our main event tonight spotlights undefeated welterweight Chris Smith. This is a guy who's made steady progress in his career. Now it's time though for his trial by fire against David Estrada, who's making his 3rd Shobox appearance for good reason. Let's bring in my broadcast partner and pal Steve Farhood to talk about a matchup, Steve, full of intrigue. What a key fight this is for both men. Chris Smith's never been beaten. David Estrada couldn't care less.
Nick, if attitude were talent, David Estrada would be Roy Jones Jr. Now, Estrada doesn't care that Chris Smith is undefeated. Why should he? Estrada's fought undefeated guys before, including Nurhan Suleiman, who Estrada spanked right here on Shobox. Estrada should be respectful of Chris Smith, the fighter, because Chris Smith fights just like David Estrada does. He throws a lot of punches, he puts pressure on his opponent, and he fights the last round of his fights as if they were the first round. There aren't that many good young welterweights that are out there. Smith can take a huge step tonight. But in Estrada, he's fighting not only the best opponent of his career, but the toughest too. Just how good is Chris Smith? We're gonna find out tonight. Now, is David Estrada a top 10 welterweight? If you go by his loss on Shobox to Ishe Smith, the answer is no. But if you go by his win on Shobox against Suleiman, the answer is yes. Estrada is what he is, tough, strong, determined. And you know, any fighter who's a disciple of Angelo Dundee is going to be well schooled. Estrada promises to take it right to Smith, push him back. He needs to start fast, never slow down, and throw 100 punches per round. Nick, if these guys combine to throw 1,000 punches, are you going to be able to keep up?
Steve, that's why they pay me the big bucks. I better be. If not, I'll ask for help. Chris Smith gets it on against David Estrada. It's our 12-round welterweight main event later in the hour. We open the show with a junior middleweight bout. Unbeaten Sechew Powell's back on Shobox, ready to take on Patrick One Punch Thompson in a fight scheduled for 8. Sechew Powell's a 4-time amateur champion who just missed making the 2000 U.S. Olympic team. He won 147 of 156 fights before turning pro in 2002. Powell's a southpaw and still unbeaten, but when we saw him last summer on Shobox, he had to climb off the canvas to win. Powell got hit with a combination from Brady Brewer in the 5th and went down for the first time in his pro or amateur career. He was dazed, but he survived his biggest step up in class and won a disputed 8-round split decision. After the fight, Powell fired his trainer and since then boxed effectively to win a 10-round unanimous decision over Shobox alum George Armenta last September. 25-year-old Sechew Powell is 14-0 with 9 knockouts. Steve, what's behind the numbers?
Well, Nick, Sechew Powell has a stance advantage. Powell's a lefty. Thompson has never faced a southpaw. Big advantage, Powell. Growing pains. In his 2 most recent starts, Powell has gotten off the floor to win and gone 10 rounds for the first time. For a prospect, those are invaluable experiences. And defining his game, since moving up in class, Powell has scored 2 decision wins. The knockouts will still come, but he's clearly more of a boxer than a puncher.
Well, tough Russian Aslanbek Kadzoyev was supposed to fight Powell, but pulled out several other junior middleweights, then passed on the opportunity to be on Shobox if it meant facing an undefeated southpaw. Patrick Thompson, though, jumped at the chance, and that's why he's here tonight, even though he's never fought a left-hander. He's 31 and from Lincoln, Nebraska. Got a late start in boxing, turned pro 2.5 years ago after 33 amateur bouts. Thompson's been busy, fighting mostly on the road against local prospects and house fighters. He dropped controversial decisions to Giovanni Lorenzo and most recently Matt Vanda 2 months ago in Minnesota. Patrick Thompson can be aggressive, but says he can also box. 8-3-1 with 4 KOs. Steve, take us behind those numbers.
Well, Nick, for Thompson, it's been close but no wins. When he's moved up, he's been competitive despite almost always fighting on the other guy's turf. Against 3 opponents with a combined record of 39-0-1, he lost a split decision and a majority decision and fought to a draw. Not bad. Playing catch-up, Thompson and Powell have about the same amount of pro experience. But at 31, Thompson is 6 years older. He turned pro at 29, and he's been learning on the job. And consider the fact that Thompson had 33 amateur bouts to Powell's 156. Huge advantage, Powell. Not much pop. Thompson has only 4 KOs in 12 fights. More significantly, he's never stopped a fighter who had a winning record. Can he threaten Powell?
And so it's Brooklyn left-hander Sechew Powell looking to stay unbeaten and to win impressively tonight against upset-minded Patrick Thompson. Let's get the formal introductions now from ring announcer Joe Antonacci.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mohegan Sun in Uncasville, Connecticut, where it's Shobox, the new generation, brought to you by DeBella Entertainment in association with Turner Construction, Showtime, and by Mel's Diesel Service of Lincoln, Nebraska, owned by Mel and Judy Isley. Tonight's action is sanctioned by the Mohegan Tribe Department of Athletic Regulations, Mark Brown, chairman of the Mohegan Tribe. Introducing our 3 judges scoring at ringside. They are George DeGabriel, Steve Epstein, and Tom Kazmarek. And our referee, Mr. Mike Ortega. Boxing fans, this bout is scheduled for 10 rounds of action in the junior middleweight division. Presenting first, fighting out of the blue corner. He enters the ring wearing white trunks with red trim. He weighed in at 152 3/4 pounds. His record stands at 8 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, 4 wins by knockout. Please welcome, all the way from Lincoln, Nebraska, Patrick One Punch Thompson. And his opponent fighting out of the red corner. He wears black trunks with silver trim and weighed in at 155 pounds. He enters the ring with a perfect professional record of 14 victories, no losses, 9 wins by knockout. He hails from Brooklyn, New York. Please welcome the Iron Horse, Sechew Powell. 8 rounds, junior middleweights.
Gentlemen, we went over the rules. I want a good, clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Good luck to both of you. Touch them up.
Tail of the tape, despite having only 2.5 weeks notice, Thompson came in at 152 3/4. The lightest he's been in 5 fights. As always, he's in really good shape, Nick.
And a couple of keys when we look at the rules. No 3 knockdown rule, or the 3 knockdown rule is in effect in this, but the standing 8 count is not. Referee you just saw, Michael Ortega, the guy in the middle, 3rd man in the ring. He is about to get him started now. This one's scheduled for 8. Sechew Powell is the left-hander in black. And it's One Punch. Patrick Thompson in the white with red stripe. Backing up right now. Steve, Powell, flat out, to me, has to be more aggressive than the last time we saw him. He was very cautious against Brewer.
Yeah, how much of that was because he got dropped in that fight? You know, he's a boxer first, and Thompson's best weapon is his right hand, which usually is a good weapon against a southpaw. Let's see if Thompson can land it.
Right, Powell definitely coming forward. Powell, the slightly bigger guy, weighing in at 155. Thompson only 152 3/4. May not seem like a big difference, but it's Thompson boxing off the back leg now, trying to poke that body and penetrate the left-hander. And that's the key, Steve, how to solve the southpaw riddle.
Oh, Nick, this guy's never fought a lefty before.
Oh, he gets tagged with a beautiful counter as Powell goes right down the pike.
No surprise that Powell will land his left hand. If you've never fought a southpaw, that left hand seems like it's coming out of nowhere. You don't see it coming as an orthodox fighter.
Absolutely, and he's working it nicely behind the jab. He feinted there, backed up, and it looks like Thompson's trying to come forward now for the first time in this fight as he eats a quick combination from Powell, who looks as sharp as we have seen him. Anthony Thompson, good counter right hand from him. His hands are up. They admit he's got to work on that defense. So far, again, he's taking a lot of shots from Powell, who's fighting it beautifully in control, Steve, but with authority and aggression.
He looks very comfortable in there. He looks very relaxed in there. And remember, the one time Powell was on Shobox. Remember, he had a delay in the ring before the start of his fight. He really screwed him up. You know, it screwed up his timing. And it happened to the other guy as well, of course.
Right.
But I don't know if he ever recovered mentally from it.
And here he is in the corner, a place his corner doesn't want him to be. Why not use his movement and speed and mobility?
Let him go.
To confuse Thompson. They like his legs. This guy really has good wheels, Steve.
Powell's last fight, a very impressive boxing win over George Armenta, and that was the only complaint his corner had: stay off the ropes.
What do you think of Thompson's defense? Taking a lot of shots, but adequate at least, Steve?
You know, I really don't think he's just not accustomed to that left hand coming. He doesn't see it when Powell leads with his right and then follows with the left. He doesn't see it.
Spirited first round as Powell cracks again with that overhand left. And again, just before the bell. For Patrick Thompson, this is a leap, literally, into the great unknown.
I've never fought a lefty. I've sparred plenty of them. The thing you do is you stay away from the power hand, keep that left foot outside of theirs, and throw right hands at them. Turn your right hand into your jab hand and try to hook off the jab.
I'm not really a classic southpaw. I like to go both ways. Sometimes I like to move to the right, sometimes I like to move to the left, depending on the opponent that's in front of me, you know, and I'm just gonna go out there and do what I do best, just box and do what comes natural to me by reading my guy and taking advantage of all the openings.
You just heard Sechew Powell, and he knows he's got to exploit that southpaw stance. And Thompson, you get all the sparring you want, Lincoln, Nebraska and such, it's not the same thing, is it, Steve?
No, hardly. No offense to Lincoln, Nebraska, but I don't think that's the sparring capital of the country.
Thompson, though, claims he's always in condition, stays in the gym, and here he comes, really pressing forward as he accelerates his attack. And now it's Powell just brushing the ropes with his back, content to battle back from the corner. Now middle of the ring for Powell in black. Thompson once again somewhat in retreat, trying to set up, and Powell trying to knock him off his pins before he could get set.
Thompson's landed 2 nice right hands this round, which is 2 more than he landed in the first round.
Left hand seemed to have certainly hit Thompson flush. Whether it stunned him or not, he's not showing any evidence of having his world rocked. Now his gloves are up, but he's trying to penetrate and find that opening. And Powell finally with a body shot to give Thompson something else to worry about.
You know, Powell will land some big shots, maybe even score a knockdown or a knockout if he puts his punches together. If he starts looking for one left hand, it won't come.
That's a good point. I love his aggression compared to the last time we saw him again. He was so cautious against Grady Brewer. Now he knows he had 10 rounds under his belt against Armenta. As you said, he boxed beautifully in that one. But here he comes. He knows he's got to win in dazzling fashion, Steve. There's no question about it. This guy's 8-3-1. I mean, give Thompson credit, but a late bloomer.
Right.
Powell should be able to handle this guy.
And the substitute, too. You know, Powell was set for the biggest fight of his life against Kadzoev. It fell out, and he's fighting a sub. He doesn't want to score his 3rd consecutive decision win.
So in terms of mind games, how do you avoid a letdown? Certainly you'd suffer one. He knew Kadzoev would be purportedly a bigger fight, maybe put him on the map. But if you don't look good in this one, you fall off the map as well.
Nick, you know, motivation comes easy, I think, for Powell, because he's been on Shobox once and he didn't look that good. So if that's not enough motivation to come back and fight on national TV, he wants to look good. That's enough motivation right there.
Well, he looks like it now. Plenty of drive from Sechew Powell as he hammers a charging Thompson. So he gets to nail Thompson while he's reaching. But I got to give Thompson credit. Steve, he's game as they come. He's coming forward, really into this fight, not holding on at all, and really forcing Sechew Powell to fight.
Oh, I think if Thompson gets backed up, he has no chance of winning.
Now trying that jab against the left-hander, didn't want to abandon it, trying to stick that lead right. He talked about moving to his left away from Powell's power. And that's what he's doing right now, doubling the jab for a change as we close out round 2, and Powell scores with an exchange.
Doing okay, a lot better that round, okay? 3D. Lot better that round, okay? But hey, you got to keep him moving though, okay? Keep him moving so he can't set up on you. All right? Okay, 3D. Again. See, he's trying to pick you now. See what I mean?
Action from round 2. Like most southpaws, Powell's left hand is his big shot. The ropes might have kept Thompson up there. Another look at the same punch. Interesting that Powell led with a hook instead of a jab. Either way, the left hand landed flush.
Get through. Okay. All right.
Pretty relaxed corner. Midge Minor is the man. He and Thompson, far from any entourage. It's a duo, and that's it. We head to the 3rd. This is scheduled for 8, so both men realized they had to fight, had to start fast. Thompson so used to fighting the so-called house fighter, and once again he finds himself a fast underdog. A crisp exchange as Powell lands, showing that hand speed. Thompson trying to read him, trying to see, but he's got to get off and not wait, Steve.
Powell does have fast hands, there's no doubt about it. And when you see it when he punches in combination.
Right there.
And he's been punching in combination all night.
Resets. Boy, nice job of creating those openings as he led with that uppercut to the jaw. So a right lead uppercut from Powell. Now he's moving to his left, as he said. He's unconventional in that sense, not always moving to the right the way a lot of lefties do. There's that left hand, that right hand low, though, Steve. We talked about that.
Don't hit behind the head. Don't hit behind the head.
Very creative offensively so far, Powell. You know what, Nick? So many southpaws that you see. You might as well chop off their right hands. They don't use them. Powell is using his right hand, hooks, uppercuts.
And Thompson slipped a little bit there. Don't think it was from a punch, but he's on the receiving end of more as Powell is outworking him badly in this round. Halfway through the 3rd, scheduled for 8. Here in Uncasville, Connecticut, we're at Mohegan Sun on a cold winter night. Sharp left hand from Powell. Body looks open as Thompson has his gloves high, and Powell is looking that way.
Haven't seen much work to the body by either guy, really.
Powell probing there now.
Thompson has been down one time in his career, if you're wondering about his chin. Powell down one time as well. That was on Shobox.
Oh, punching at once. Thompson not being deterred. He took a shot to land one. Now going to Powell's body with that right lead. Powell gets on the jab again. Lead left hand.
And Nick, you look for growth in fighters. That's why we have repeat fighters on Shobox. You got to admit, Powell looks a lot more relaxed than he did in Laughlin, Nevada. Now, in that fight, he got dropped by Grady Brewer, who was a better fighter than Thompson. But nonetheless, Powell's showing why he's a prospect. Putting his punches together, good hand speed, nice movement. He's controlling the fight.
Thompson putting his shots together now. He's got Powell in retreat, but certainly not unglued by any sense as we hit the end of 3.
It's all right. It's okay. Y remember, cuando diga you combination, the teacher give me the hook. Because if you work in hook, you remember también more combination. Not say 1, 2, 3, more. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, fast you hand. You forget the body. The guy coming the right hand. Fast, touching the body. Okay? You good?
Okay, listen, Sechew. You only throw the uppercut when he come to you. The hook is the key, okay? Only throw the uppercut when he come to you. Okay? But the hook is the key. All right?
No too much worry.
That's Francisco Guzman, now the head trainer for Sechew Powell. Gone is Angel Rivera, but in the corner, Al Mitchell, who is an amateur, has a tremendous amateur career as a coach, has been with Powell for nearly 10 years, Steve.
Yeah, Mitchell comes in from Michigan for the fights. Al Mitchell worked with Vernon Forrest, and he's an U.S. Olympic coach. But the change in trainers to Guzman, a good move, because the previous trainer was more of a personal trainer, a conditioner. But Francisco Guzman, he's worked with Yohan Guzman, world champion at 122 pounds, more of a pro trainer. And that's what Powell needs at this point to go to the next level.
Well, Thompson has just gotten into gear, Steve, with that right hand to the body. And man, this guy is difficult to discourage, taking a lot of shots, but really wants to make this approach. Just keep punching and not get lucky, but maybe tag Powell on that second and third shot. But he's got to let his hands go, and that was Guzman's essential instructions to Powell between rounds. Let your hands fly, and both men in that corner, Steve, agreed that hook is the key. You know, I like the fact that Thompson hasn't abandoned the jab. It's not been terribly effective, but he is trying to come in behind that against the lefty.
I'm not touching that, Nick, because we've had arguments and arguments and arguments about the jab against the southpaw. Hey, I admit sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. Maybe if he feints a little more coming in, he could get Powell to commit and maybe counter him with that right hand.
You got it. That's the ticket. You know, Thompson has to land the right hand. That's clear. He has a better chance of doing it if Powell is moving his left hand. Have a clearer path to the chin. Yeah, Powell's landed his best shots. Thompson has a good chin.
Powell very much in control, in the black. Just pot-shotting Thompson on the way in. Thompson's nose is bloodied now.
Yeah, he's getting busted up, Nick. He's swelling. He's taking a lot of shots right in the middle of the face, hard shots.
Yeah, Powell, hard shots the key, Steve. I agree with you. Really punching with conviction. Tons of snap on his shots.
And Powell on Shobox, when he fought Grady Brewer, he looked tentative. There's a big left hand.
Oh, as solid as they come.
His next fight, his last fight, he fought George Armenta, and he boxed his way. And he didn't show a lot of power. He's really combining his boxing and the power punching tonight much better.
Good point.
Impressed.
He's a good mover, isn't he?
Yeah, he moves well.
Hit the end of the fourth, scheduled for 8.
Time.
It's an all-junior welterweight card on the next new installment of Shobox The New Generation. First up, 18-1 Oscar Diaz against 16-1-1 Al Speedy Gonzalez. Then, undefeated professional and former U.S. Olympian David Diaz takes on once-beaten Kendall Holt. Watch promising prospects fight their way into contention on Shobox The New Generation. Friday, February 4th at 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific.
Okay? Because you letting him get off first on you, seeing that give him a chance to set up. Okay? How you feel? Okay. When he throw that jab, throw your hook. Okay? All right. Got it.
Steve, Thompson definitely worse for wear here halfway through, but what's he doing best?
I think you said it earlier in the fight. He's not getting discouraged.
Yeah, he's determined.
He's determined to come forward. Hey, he's not going to outbox Sechew Powell. He needs to knock him out or knock him down a couple of times. The only way he's going to do that is if he's in punching range, and the only way he's going to be in punching range if he's coming forward. So that's what he's doing best. He's still in the fight. If he gets lucky or gets good with a big right hand, he'll be at least be in position to land it.
Who's got more power in your opinion? I know that Powell's obviously landed more blows. Whoa! That was a slip.
Yeah.
Wait on that.
That's ruled a knockdown.
No knockdown.
No knockdown.
No knockdown.
Good
That
call.
looked like a broad jump,
Right?
didn't it? Like a long jump.
Box.
Boy, back comes Thompson. Body attack. Mitch Miner, his trainer, wants him to throw that left hook as a counter. At
There
least
it
he
was.
fired there. Behind the right hand.
Oh, break.
That's a push, huh?
Stay in the corner. No knockdown. No knockdown.
They've both
All right,
been on
let's
the
go.
canvas,
Box.
but no knockdowns here in the fifth.
Well, the lead foot of each fighter is, of course, they're on top of each other. You can see they step on
Watch
each
your
other's
feet,
toes
guys.
quite
Watch
a
your
bit.
feet.
Exactly, as Mike Ortega just called it, Steve.
It's inevitable, Nick. There's nothing you can do about it.
Oh, nice shot at a button from Powell. Now he backs up, resets. Thompson trying to load up here.
And you see what a difference amateur experience. You know, I know the pro game is different, but Powell is just a little sharper with his punches, and Thompson's trying. The determination is there, but he doesn't seem to really know how to set up his shots or counterpunch. When he wings his shots, first of all, they're not as straight and crisp as Powell's, and they don't seem to be coming at the right time, and that's why he's not landing them flush.
Great point. Also, I haven't seen Thompson fight effectively inside.
And Powell deserves some of the credit for that, Nick, because I don't think Powell wants to fight inside.
So he's just creating, he's setting the distance, right? Controlling range.
Yeah, it's easy to do if you move your feet.
Powell is a good mover. Now he's trying to sucker Thompson in by dropping that lead hand. And as Thompson plunges forward, he eats
punches up,
another
keep 'em
left
up.
hand. Powell on the ropes. Here's Thompson's best opportunity. Now we'll see if he can mug him at all. Body him around. Not a lot of steam on those punches as Powell drives him off with a flurry of his own. Crowd getting into it big in the fifth. Thompson starting to wing shots.
Time.
Pat, next time, you what you gotta do.
All right. Pull this cup.
Okay, got you. Deep breath. Look here. When he jab, I want you throwing that hook, okay? And you gotta feint more. You gotta feint more and then punch behind the feints, okay? Here.
Action from round 5. Watch the feet. Whoa! You saw Thompson's left foot was totally on top of Powell's right. See it again. And that's why first and 10. And then later in the round, it happens again. That time their knees locked. You know, it's really amazing, Nick. It doesn't happen more often with southpaws and right-handers.
What do you think of that strategy, Steve, in terms of basically Midge Miner wants Patrick Thompson to wait and let Powell commit and counter. Through 5 rounds, Thompson knows he can't be ahead.
No, it's a shutout for Powell. The counterpunch idea is actually, I think, a pretty good idea. But I wouldn't counter with the left hook. I'd counter with the right hand, counter Powell's left hand.
Right. Powell getting off fast again.
Pulled his punch there. His shots have been straight up the middle, as opposed to, as you mentioned, Patrick Thompson's looping blows.
See Powell only 2-2, but neither fighter has any KOs in fights 6 rounds or more. We're in round 6. Graphic would suggest we're going 8. See Powell looking to counter with the left hand. You can just see, there it is.
Yeah, very quick as he puts his hands into play, trying to lure Thompson forward, nail him as he comes forward. And now, when Thompson refuses to take the lead, Powell is content to stick that jab in his face. And now, 3-punch combination. Powell left hand low. Thompson can't track him down. Patrick Thompson, just his 13th professional fight, but Powell in for only the 15th time in his career. Cracked with a right hand is Thompson. Back comes Powell as he lets the hands go. And Thompson looks a little hurt here, Steve.
Best punch of the fight for Powell. Interesting, it was a right hook.
He should hold on, it seems. But I'm glad he's really come to fight. But Thompson going for broke now. Powell content to cover up.
Let him go.
Under a minute to go here in the 6th.
Thompson's all heart. You can see his feet. His legs are not right now, and he's still coming forward. Every step he takes, Nick, his calves, his legs are shaking. He's just not right. He's still hurt. And look at him coming forward. He doesn't know any other way.
Oh, Powell rifles that uppercut. Now sticks the jab. Powell just looking to pick his shots now. There's the right hook. Once, twice. Elusive measures from Powell, and now he's on the attack again. He's able to punch when he wants, Steve, and rest when he wants.
Very focused. Powell is very focused, Nick.
Time. Doc, take a look at him.
Let me get the bucket in, please.
You okay? You all right?
Hey. How you feeling? You okay? All right. 3 deep. 3 deep. You bring the water? No. I can't operate with you in my way.
Action from round 6. All fight long, Powell's been landing in combination. You don't see one punch from him. 1, 2, 3. And the third shot, the right hook, is what landed. Look at the same. That was the best punch of the fight. You see Thompson rocking on his legs there. Again, combinations, left uppercut, and now they all come because Powell knows he has his man hurt.
Nothing coming back from Patrick Thompson.
Let's go, box.
Steve, just a minor criticism. I thought Powell should have just jumped all over him. It seemed that Thompson was very much dazed.
Well,
he backed off and reset. And
yeah, that was a chance for Powell to stop him. He may still do that. He's landed flush right here.
Here we go.
For 5 rounds, it was a boxing match. It was a boxing lesson. In round 6, it started turning into a beating.
Thompson's never stopped trying, but he's getting outclassed here by Sechew, Powell, and Black. Powell looking for openings, ripping those shots, avoiding the return fire. Thompson bloodied. Powell slips out of danger.
And I'll tell you, Nick, you really think about it. Thompson is getting better, presumably because he's more experienced. Didn't have the amateur background. The 3 toughest guys he fought, Matt Vander, Dennis Sharp, Giovanni Lorenzo, he was competitive with all of them. He really hasn't been competitive in this fight. And that's definitely, that's a big plus when you consider where Sechew Powell is as a prospect.
Good point, and that's how we would assess his performance. You don't need knockouts to look impressive. Sure, it's more dazzling, but I think Powell has sparkled so far. Cracking with that lead left hand. Man, Thompson continues to plow ahead. Trying to feint his way in. Not really throwing Powell off stride in the least.
Well, now the question, really the only question left in this fight, can Powell score a stoppage?
Out, huh?
It would be nice because he's had 2 consecutive decision wins. He's beating him up. He doesn't have to stop him, but I'm sure he'd like to.
Oh, waiting, searching, finding a home with that left again. Boy, he's been drilling his shots. Straight, crisp, good accurate punching from Sechew Powell.
And I think Powell has had so much success in accurately punching at the face and head that he hasn't really used much of a body attack.
He has not.
And maybe that's something that if you're going to find the criticism, and it's hard, he's won every round, but if you're going to find the criticism, I would like to have seen a little more body work from Powell.
Boy, he's getting it done. An almost complete performance. Thompson a little tired, gets driven back with that straight left. But here he comes fighting back with a charge of his own.
Time.
1 round to go here at Mohegan Sun.
Number 8, right? All right, number 8, right? It's okay, they come and see. Hey, put it here. Number 8.
Go ahead, get in.
Okay.
Oh, they.
We got one more?
Yeah, this is the last round. You incoherent. Okay.
The bucket's right there on your left.
All right. Here, get some water.
This one in you?
Combination, okay?
That's the reason I didn't give you the screw. You in shape. This is your last round. Put it together. The only reason
what's
he
he
in
roll
this
now? What's he
long
roll
is
now?
you're not doing the job. Okay. Well,
What's he roll?
stop. You're giving too much long.
Give me 3D. Mouthpiece. Okay. Here. Let's
Okay, let's
go.
go. Second time. Let it loose, brother. Let it loose.
Last round.
Last round.
Steve, I just love
Okay,
what
let's go.
Al Mitchell just told Sechew Powell. The only reason this guy's basically still around, you're giving him too much respect. I like it. Go for it. Sure, he's got a 7-0 lead. He's going to win this fight by decision, hands down. But I like that. Don't just back
Keep him
off
up, keep him up.
and look okay and not take any chances. Certainly, again, as I always say, don't fight stupid, but that's a slip.
Neutral corner.
Blood streaming from the nose.
No knockdown. No
of
knockdown. Let's go. I know. Let's go.
Boy, Thompson just tons of heart.
But Nick, your point is a good one because Powell doesn't only have to win. Yeah, he's a young fighter. You have to sell yourself. You know, when you're an older fighter, winning is all it's about. When you're a young fighter, it's winning and how you win. Because you have to make an impression.
And that last fight on Shobox stuck in his craw. There's no doubt he took it. He took the criticism with a lot of class, Powell, but it definitely stung. And he knows it. He knows he knew he had to step it up here tonight. And he's done it.
And he's not the first fighter on Shobox who did not look great his first time on the air and then came back and looked much better. Of course, Kermit Cintron comes to mind. And
David Estrada,
main event
we'll
tonight.
see. Yeah,
Exactly.
Good point.
So sometimes you give a guy a second chance and you see the real fighter.
Whoa, looping left lands from Powell. Now he strings the combinations together. Thompson battling back, but that left eye is beginning to close. Halfway through this final round as Powell zeroes in on a waiting target.
And even though it's the 8th and final round, the body shot or two would bring the guard down, make it easier for Powell to land the money shots.
That's a good point.
Step back.
Man, I give Thompson credit. He's got what I always call hard bark on him, doesn't he, Steve? Tough guy.
Oh, yeah. Too hard for his own good, huh?
Yeah. 1 minute. Now Mitchell just barked. You got a minute left. Just jab and box. And don't take any chances. But I hope that's not the case. Powell looking for openings. Thompson not willing to oblige. He walked into a shot there. Patrick Thompson, bloodied and clearly beaten here, as Powell puts that combination together and pokes it home once again.
Thompson's face is a hideous mask of blood, and Powell looks like he's just jogged a mile in a health club in Brooklyn. I mean, he looked like he hasn't been hit once. And Nick Powell's a Yankee fan, so how bad? You know, you gotta love him just for that.
No, just because somebody's sitting next to me, he's a Yankee fan.
Let him out. Step back clean. Step back.
Once again, make it clear, Patrick Thompson took this fight on relatively short notice, knew that he didn't have the experience by any means, knew that he was the older fighter and that there's no time to wait, and you gotta take a shot, and he took a huge risk taking on this man, Sechew Powell, who took him to school tonight. Just a matter of outclassing him, as he flat out pitched a shutout in this, Steve. I would think it would be pretty clear to say.
Okay, my brother.
All right. That's a warrior.
Hey, I think Powell appreciated Thompson's effort, you know? How could you not, one fighter to the other?
No question. He didn't run.
Take a breather, just have a seat.
Pat, just have a seat for a second, all right?
Take a little breather.
Just look at you.
Where they at?
I'm right here.
I'm all right, pal.
Never just another night at the office in boxing, is it, Steve?
No.
There's no casual
That kid was tough
Fridays,
as
are there?
nails. Great work.
Let's get this stuff off. You got the tape? You got the thing?
Yeah, they like the performance in the corner of Sechew Powell. And so do we, Steve.
8-0 on my card, 80-72.
Very effective punching,
Iron Horse,
good
baby.
movement.
Pop, we got another one on the belt. Thank you. Yeah. Brownsville, Brooklyn, stand up. Stand up. Stand up for my team, please. Run time. Senior Guzman, Gio Guzman, Darius Ford, Al Mitchell, Randy Ramirez, Chico, Murder Guzman, everybody. Much love, Ellie Skelly, much love.
Sechew Powell, Brooklyn, New York, shines tonight, Steve.
And all the highlights in this fight were Sechew Powell. Watch, every time he lands a shot, a good shot, it's in combination. 1-2 right there. 1-2. All the punches, too. Not just the straight right and the straight left, but uppercuts, right hooks. And not that many southpaws have that big array of punches. And all those punches, well, the effect of them, all you got to do is look at Thompson's face, and it tells you all you need to know about this fight.
Joe Antonacci makes this one official now.
Boxing fans, after 8 rounds of action, we go to the judges' scorecard. Judge George DeGabriel sees the bout 79-73. Judge Tom Kazmarek sees the bout 80-71. And Judge Steve Epstein sees the bout 80-72 for your winner by unanimous decision.
We'll take it.
The Iron Horse, Sechew Powell.
No surprises there, as Sechew Powell fought with the kind of fire we were waiting to see here on Shobox. He was aggressive. He created openings. He kept the heat on, and he pitched a clear shutout.
Excellent performance by Powell, a junior middleweight, Nick, that we want to see again, and we want to see against better opposition.
Security. Slide just a second. Thank you.
Shobox comes to you tonight from Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, where our main event is next. Undefeated Chris Smith battles David Estrada in a 12-round welterweight bout. It's cold outside here, but inside the heat is on for 2 welterweights each in the most crucial fight of his career. But first, we want to remind you that Showtime Championship Boxing's 2005 premiere is Saturday night, February 5th, when welterweight champion Corey Spinks puts his 3 major titles on the line in the rematch with top contender Zab Judah. For Spinks, his bloodlines might indicate he was meant to be a champion, but his battle to the top has still been amazing. Al Bernstein has more with the king of the welterweight division.
Corey, today was an interesting day. You got to go back to the school where you went to high school. It was a wonderful reception.
Well, I always have fun when I go back to visit my old high school. I try to show my face there like at least once every month or something like that, you know.
When we were walking on the block where you grew up and looking at your house, how did that make you feel?
Oh, it made me feel great. I thought about the good and the bad times that I had in that house and what I've been through to get to this point. The area we was in was like one of the roughest areas in St. Louis, and it was all about survival.
You had a dad who, while he was an absentee dad, had a famous name, and you were walking around with people understanding that that was your dad. Did that make life more difficult for you at the time in some ways?
Some people would try to test you, but I didn't get many of those, but I did have street fights, but it was, other than that, it was fine.
How'd you build a relationship back with your dad? How much had to come from inside you to say, okay, I want to do this, and how much came from him?
He started to pay more attention and be in my life a little more, so I just opened my heart to him. You know, we was some jokesters, and he liked to make people laugh, and that's what I do.
Is there anything you'll do differently in this fight from the last one against Judah?
Well, you know, stick to what I do in this boxing. I know what I have to do. I have to go in there calm, just like I go into any other fight, calm and ready to handle my business.
Will Spinks hold on to his title, or can Judah finally come through in a high-stakes showdown? Find out February 5th at 9 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. The first Saturday of every month is America's Fight Night on Showtime. And fight fans will know about this late breaking news in boxing. The Jose Luis Castillo-Chico Corrales fight scheduled for March 5th on Showtime is off for now because of infighting in the Corrales camp. Castillo will look to meet Julio Diaz instead on that card March 5th on Showtime. Corrales now will probably not have a meaningful fight until September or October. You'll remember his last fight was last summer when he TKO'd Acelino Freitas. So Corrales, Castillo off for now. Castillo looking for Julio Diaz as his new opponent March 5th on Showtime. But back to the moment at hand. It's a Friday night here on Showtime as we come to you from Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. Cold, crisp night outside. Our first show of 2005. And it's main event time on Shobox. The weekend crowd here getting set for Chris Smith against David Estrada in a highly anticipated welterweight bout. Nick Charles with Steve Farhood, anxious as you are to see what happens in this one.
Oh,
Steve.
yeah.
Estrada and Smith are similar in that both guys have all the punches, Steve, but neither guy has the kind of one-shot bases clearing power. So for Chris Smith, how does he win this fight tonight?
2 points for Chris Smith. One, he claims he's the harder puncher. There are going to be a lot of punches landed in this fight. If he indeed is the harder puncher, Nick, that'll be a big plus. Secondly, we're talking two offensive fighters. Punches are going to fly. Defense. Chris Smith likes to pick off shots, kind of be cagey that way. If he can be the better defensive fighter, that will make a huge difference in a fight where there are going to be so many punches.
Well, David Estrada is always aggressive, but when he sparkled on Shobox this past summer against Nurhan Suleiman, he was just as effective when he let Suleiman come to him. So how does he fight Smith tonight?
Throw out the Suleiman fight. What Estrada has to do, land the jab, first of all, throw the jab, land the jab, come forward from the start, build a lead in this fight, because the jab will allow him to get his range, and he has to back Chris Smith up. If he can do that, he will win this fight.
Well, it's a highly anticipated match just about to begin. Let's take a look first at Chris Smith. 29, born in Jamaica, learned to box at Gleason's Gym in New York and won the New York Welterweight Golden Gloves title in 1997. Smith turned pro 7 years ago. He's won 6 of his last 7 fights by stoppage, most recently a 10-round TKO victory last October. He's a definite prospect, but has built his impressive record mostly against limited opposition. He admits Estrada will be a tough test. Chris Smith, 19-0-1 with a dozen KOs. Steve, take us behind the numbers.
Mirror image. There's not much separating these two, Nick. In their last 6 fights, Smith has gone 54 rounds, Estrada 53. Over the last 3 years, Smith has fought 9 times, Estrada 8. Smith has been 10 rounds or more 3 times, Estrada 3 times. Puncher or not, for a fighter who rarely wrecks you with one shot, Smith scores a lot of knockdowns. In 5 of his 7 most recent wins, he's dropped his opponents a combined 15 times. In careful matchmaking, Smith's 8 most recent opponents had winning records, but none stood out as a serious test. Estrada is his best opponent to date.
David Estrada was born in Chicago and capped his 60-fight amateur career in Texas, where he won a Golden Glove championship. Estrada now lives in Miami, where the brilliant Angelo Dundee has advised him since he turned pro 5 years ago. We first saw Estrada a year and a half ago when he took on Ishe Smith in a battle of unbeatens here on Shobox. Estrada tried to make the fight, but Smith frustrated him with movement and an effective body attack, outclassing Estrada over 10 rounds. Estrada didn't make any excuses, although he later confirmed he'd been sick that night. But then, this past summer, he got a second shot on Shobox and took care of business against former Olympian Nurhan Suleiman. Estrada constantly pressing forward and running down, outworking the favored Suleiman for 10 rounds. But he did let Suleiman come to him at times and box effectively. Now, 6 months later, David Estrada's back on Shobox, and he's brought his attitude with him, along with a record of 17-1 with 8 knockouts. Steve, what's behind those numbers?
Well, Nick, Estrada is certainly ring-tested. He's faced tougher fighters than Smith, most notably Ishe Smith, who was 12-0, and Nurhan Suleiman, who was 14-0. Smith is not necessarily a step up for Estrada. No early nights. Estrada has scored only 1 KO in his last 6 fights, and that came against Nelson Manchego, who had been stopped in his 2 previous starts. He'll need to win on points tonight. And dust off the rust. It's been more than 6 months since Estrada fought Suleiman on Shobox. That's a relatively long layoff. We'll see if it's a factor.
So can Smith stay unbeaten and look sharp doing it? He's expecting a pitched battle when he faces rugged David Estrada in a 12-round IBF elimination bout for the number 2 ranking. Let's go back to ring announcer Joe Antonacci.
Ladies and gentlemen, again we welcome you to Mohegan Sun in Uncasville, Connecticut, where all of tonight's action is being brought to you by DeBella Entertainment in association with Turner Construction, Showtime, and Mel's Diesel Service of Lincoln, Nebraska, owned by Mel and Judy Isley. This bout is sanctioned by the Mohegan Tribe Department of Athletic Regulations, Mark Brown, chairman of the Mohegan Tribe. It is an IBF eliminator for the number 2 position in their world rankings. Introducing our judges scoring at ringside, Glenn Feldman, Clark Sammartino, and Don Trella. And our referee for this evening's bout, Steve Smoger. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Shobox main event of the evening. 12 rounds of action in the welterweight division. Presenting first, fighting out of the blue corner. He enters the ring wearing black trunks with gold trim. Weighing 147 pounds, his record stands at 17 wins, only 1 defeat, 8 wins by knockout. Please welcome from Chicago, Illinois, David Estrada. And his opponent fighting out of the red corner. He wears black trunks with red trim and weighed 146 pounds. He enters the ring with a record of 19 wins, no losses, 1 draw, 12 big knockouts from Queens, New York City. Please welcome Chris the Mechanic Smith.
Chris, David, you were given your instructions at the weigh-in. Are you all set now? Are we all together? Yep. You were given your instructions at the weigh-in. Please obey my commands, respect the bell, and above all, protect yourself at all times. Touch gloves. God bless. Thank you.
These guys weighed in again at 9:45 this morning following IBF rules. Smith was 150, Estrada 156 3/4. Interesting, he's much bigger.
As we look at the rules here, no 3 knockdown rule, no standing 8 count. It's Smith and Estrada. We have been waiting for this one for a while, and so have they. And now we're about to begin. Steve Smoger gets them started here at Mohegan Sun. They're both in black. With the gold piping is David Estrada. He will be aggressive. Angelo Dundee in the corner along with Luis Lagerman, a protege of Angelo Dundee, of course, a disciple really of him. But Dundee has supervised and told us flat out that Estrada is going to work behind that jab, and he's going to push Smith back, Steve.
Well, the first thing you look for in the first round, which fighter pushes the other back, if there's consistency in that. That's critical. Secondly, Nick, we've seen more body punches in the first 15 seconds of this fight than we saw in the entire 8-round Sechew Powell bout.
Good observation. And that's what we saw so effectively from David Estrada and his victory over Nurhan Suleiman. Not afraid to go to the body, turning very nicely, showing good quickness. It's Chris Smith who wants to come forward. His right hand is his best. Who is working the jab? And it's Estrada out hustling him right now. Very early, but boy, it is a lightning quick pace as these welterweights are trading a minute into this fight.
Well, I'll tell you, who's pushing who back isn't really relevant because Estrada's getting pushed back, but he's landing the bigger shots.
Yes, such as that hook to the body. Now Smith trying to shorten up inside.
Stay up.
Estrada flurries back. Smith takes those shots on the gloves. Steve Smith sees pretty well. He is getting cracked, but now it's Estrada trying to pierce through that defense. And right found a home, and then that left-hand gun. Steve, we said neither guy has home run power, but you can feel those shots.
Yeah, you can, and they come so often. And usually volume punchers aren't big punchers for the simple reason that you can't throw knockout punches if you're throwing 100 shots around. Your arms would fall off.
David Estrada, all we could say simply with the sparkling gold stripe. Chris Smith in jet black walks into some shots.
Yeah, that was a big hook by Estrada after Smith came back with a mini rally.
Here comes Estrada outworking Smith inside, driving Smith back. Smith absorbing everything Estrada has. Estrada right down the middle with that right hand, working off the jab. Now the hook as he fires away. Smith refuses to budge, Steve.
Well, we said 100 punches around. No doubt Estrada. Believe me, I can tell without counting every punch. There's been 100 by Estrada in this round. No.
Boy, Estrada, we talked about attitude, Steve. We've asked him what he thought of Chris Smith, and essentially it's nothing.
Chris Smith, I mean, nothing. It doesn't impress me. You know, 19-0, so what? The last guy I fought was undefeated. I taught him how to lose, so I got to teach this guy how to lose too.
Are you crazy? I fought a lot of guys off TV. You know, I took the long road to get here. You know, it wasn't easy to get here. So I mean, if they want to say that, I mean, that's their business. But when we get into the ring, it's a totally different story. You know, I fought quality opposition.
Back up in the middle. Right back up in the middle.
There he is. Angelo Dundee has trained 15 world champions. And David Estrada trying to go to #2 IBF has really made a rapid rise in the last year, although he hasn't fought that much, Steve.
Yeah, well, he hasn't fought in quite a while since he was on Shobox. Yeah, you know what? If he wins this fight, because the IBF #2 ranking is on the line, Estrada will be, I don't want to say a short of a title fight eventually, but who knows? Maybe he'll be in a position one day within a year or so of being #16 for Angelo Dundee.
Meantime, Chris Smith has a different plan. He's on the left right now. Now pressing forward and connecting as Estrada tries to bull his way inside and fight inside, but it's Smith pushing Estrada back, or trying. Estrada stands, holds his ground, now backs off. Smith digs that right to the body, then comes upstairs and cracks a combination. So Smith revving up the offense. Estrada.
Jabs have not been a big factor in it because they've been too close to land them. Now you see Estrada trying to do it there, but
I'll never complain about that. You know, I always talk about the jab, Steve, but boy, if they're firing big shots, that's okay.
The experience with these two guys, you see, it's almost identical.
How's the defense of both guys, Steve? It's very early, I know, but with, you know, guys winging 100 shots each around, you're going to get hit.
I tell you what, Smith got hit a lot in that first round. He likes to pick punches off, but with Estrada punching both to the body and the head, it's a lot harder to pick punches off.
Yeah. Trying to keep his elbows in as well. Now Smith absorbing a shot and backing up and firing that uppercut. Stepping back a little bit and putting that into motion. But Estrada trying to muscle Smith backwards.
And you know, Estrada's getting pushed back at times. It's actually good for him because when he lands his big shots, he has full extension. You see there's a little bit of room between the two when Estrada punches. Smith, on the other hand, maybe smothering his own power a little bit.
Do you think so?
Yeah, right now you see it.
Oh, Estrada cracking back, and Smith trying to not absorb any flush blows, but his hands were down and he wasn't punching back. So Estrada scoring big here in the second. 3, 4, 5 shots from Estrada. Smith feels he's the harder puncher. So far we haven't seen it. David Estrada on the right. Smith rifles that lead right hand. Covers up, takes those shots on the gloves, on the elbows, but there gets hit with a right cross to the ribs. Action hardly slowing through 2. What a pace.
Hey! Hey, corner, come and get your fighter. Okay, Chrissy. There we go, there we go.
No compulsion to rush. Chris Smith should find a place to sit down.
Don't want you taking too many punches. Ground firing back in the middle. Deep breathing. Watch out your mouth.
You punch when he's punching, Chris.
You gotta punch back. Don't give him the first shot.
He's not working.
All right, how you feeling? Okay, well, he leaning in one side. You gotta.
Action for round 2. It started well for Smith, but Estrada came on. And look, he just seems to be able to get more leverage on his shots because he has more room to punch. He's creating that room because Smith is staying glued to him.
How
Smith
you feeling?
not punching back.
Well,
Yes, it is the 3rd round here at Mohegan Sun. It's scheduled
Watch
for
your
12.
heads, guys.
With
Watch
a
your
lot
heads.
on the line for David Estrada on the left, as well as Chris Smith. Chris Smith, they want him not to wait. Let his hands go, and he's doing it now as he picks up his pace dramatically. Estrada fighting back. Smith waiting, and getting tagged.
Haven't seen much of it yet, but one thing about Estrada, he likes to switch hit and go southpaw. Haven't seen it, but then again, this isn't a boxing match. They've been squared up most of the way. He has not had an opportunity to go southpaw. Shouldn't face Smith if he does, because Chris Smith's last fight was against Dylan Carew, who is a southpaw.
Right. Oh, as Smith walked into a right hand from Estrada and seemed to have lost his balance. He's still punching back, but that took a little bit out of Chris Smith, it seemed. Now he's leaning on Estrada. Smith knows how to, he's got some tricks, huh? He knows how to use his elbows a little bit. Steve Smoger, first-class referee.
Now, Smoger is certainly letting them fight, and that's a good thing. There haven't really been very many clinches. I don't think there have been any clinches.
It's been great. Estrada off the break with that left
And another left that penetrates as he fires those rocket left hands. Good hook from Estrada. And Steve, you're right, he's been varying his attack nicely. Lead right hand, back with a hook from Estrada. He resets, but has forgotten mostly about the jab. Now he'll try it. Overhand right as Estrada continues to crack.
More variety in the punches from Estrada.
Absolutely, from Smith. Estrada with that left hook that landed flush. Smith not finding a way to discourage Estrada in the least, Steve.
Well, Nick, I thought from the start this would be a distance fight. It very well could be. And for that reason, I thought it would be won in the second half. But if Estrada builds up enough lead and beats Smith up enough, Smith may not have enough left to make any kind of rally in the second half. We'll see. I mean, it's a long way to go. This is only 3, and this is scheduled for 12.
Oh, boy. Volume, pressure, and pace from David Estrada. All clearly on display here in the third. He has not backed off a bit. He's still low picking his shots. Nothing wild. It's very calculated, Steve, his attack. Continuing to move, turn, reset, reload. Oh, double hook from Estrada. Smith has his hands full.
You're starting to hurt this guy. You're hitting him with the hook real good. The only thing you're doing wrong, you're not sliding right on the guy.
Stay off to the right.
The jab.
You hit, move to your right.
Give me the water.
Not with those hooks, okay? You working good with those hooks. So after the hook,
now come on,
drop it to the body after the hook. Okay? Left hook,
you blew
left
that
uppercut.
round because you backed up a couple times.
Keep charging, you can't take the pressure. You keep backing up.
Now you're hurting him with the hook. Keep switching like that. I like that switch. You fuck him up. You know what I mean? Nice and smart. Nice and smart. You be the boss. Back this sucker up. Mouthpiece. Okay, we got it, baby. Come on.
Go, baby.
Go ahead. Get up. Show.
Angie.
And they are feeling good in the corner of David Estrada.
And why not? And you know what, Nick, I'll tell you this, and I think you'll agree with me. There's not enough money in the world to pay Angelo Dundee to work your corner. If I'm going to have one fight in my life, he's the guy I want in the corner.
You said it perfectly, Steve. Chris Smith gets rocked by a left hand. He knows he's got to rev up his attack, but he's eating shots from the relentless David Estrada. There goes the hook into play. He wants a war. It seems he seems to smell blood here.
And what a difference in the power. We didn't think either one of these guys was a big puncher, but really Estrada, much bigger shots.
Estrada seems to be turned on by a real pitch battle. Here he is, winging shots from both sides. Body, head, missing. He's got to be a little tired. There's the switch. He switches on a fly so beautifully in a good position to punch. And Smith leaning forward now dangerously. I think those body shots may be taking something out of Smith. Certainly his legs, it's usually the first route, the first indication you see.
And nice work by Estrada. For the last 30 seconds, he hasn't thrown a punch. He's resting after all those big shots, and he rested without getting hit. That's impressive.
Wow. Estrada turns his back on Smith, and now cracks him coming in. Smith's lost a lot of steam on his shots.
I was about to say, Nick, you are 100% right. There's not much on Chris Smith's punches.
I think it's from the body shots, I would think, and absolutely being out-punched. I mean, the volume's been incredible from David Estrada. We're only in the fourth. Will it go 12? Smith has to pull his way in. And there goes Estrada in motion again, out-hustling Chris Smith here in the fourth. Right hand lands. Estrada holds on a little bit. He's inside. Smith trying to shake loose. Estrada buries a right, partially blocked, fended off from Smith. I like the way Estrada turns.
Yeah, he's very subtle in his movements on the inside.
Very quick.
Hey, you saw him move right there. He spun after ducking a shot and was in a position to counter.
Yeah, really tight. Chris Smith walking forward.
A little squared up.
Stay up, Chris, stay up.
Estrada, the one backing up now. Again, it has to, the energy's got to be somewhat sapped from Estrada. He's in terrific shape, it looks like, but all the shots he has fired through 4. Smith battling his way back at the end of the 4th.
Good, guys. Very good. Very good.
Action from round 4. You know what? Angelo Dundee said you're hurting them with the hook.
Oh.
I think Estrada was paying attention. And he's hurting them with the hook not only to the chin, not only to the liver, but to the middle of the belly as well. He's really versatile with that left hook, and he's getting full leverage on it. It's a little wide at times, but there's a lot more on it than anything from Smith's punch.
Come on, man. You got to stick through the body a little bit more.
Overhand right. Hit him in the kidney with that right hand. And come back with the uppercut. Come on.
You're doing good, David. You're doing good. Let him back you up.
Let's go in. Let's go, baby.
Back up.
Go.
Steve, you know what I love so much? Angelo, it's like layering icing on a cake. First, between rounds prior to this, jab and hook more, and now it's like go with the overhand right and the uppercut. Let's add to the recipe. Let's make it even more difficult for Chris Smith. But let me ask you a blunt question. Has Smith won a round? And if not, what can he do differently to turn this around?
Right now, Smith has not won a round. The last round might have been the closest, but Estrada had that big output early in the round. What can he do to turn it around? You know what? You better hope Estrada gets tired, because right now Smith has no answers and doesn't have the power to turn this around.
He's getting outgunned, Steve. And here comes a rapid-fire combination from David Estrada. He'll back off. Slip, and now behind the jab. Oh, there's the jab. Smith getting hit flush to the face, and now body shot. Estrada with the right to the jaw. Failed to connect, but he's throwing everything at Chris Smith. Chris Smith all in black, pressing forward, trying to make something happen, create some kind of an opening.
You know, Nick, after Estrada looked lousy in losing a decision to E.J. Smith on our air, he said, all he would say is, that wasn't me. And what did we say? We said, another fighter who lost, making an excuse, right? You know what? He was telling the truth. That wasn't him, because look how well he fought against Suleiman, and look how well he's fighting tonight.
Oh, boy, he's a different guy. The 5th of a scheduled 12-round welterweight battle, and we say battle. The only surprise, Steve, we knew they'd be throwing shots. A couple of things that Estrada has so much on his shots, and that Smith has not had a real answer.
And the reason for that is Estrada, but with his subtle movements on the inside, has created enough space that when he punches, he's getting full extension on his shots. Smith coming forward throughout, is smothering his own shots, not much on them.
Boy, really haven't seen any kind of a power punch from Chris Smith, and his right hand is the best that he's got. Estrada just fending him off, moving nicely.
Can Chris Smith make an adjustment and become a boxer? That's a good question. It's really not his style.
You'd have to sweep some rounds that way, but he's got to get out of the way of David Estrada, who has made him pay repeatedly. Smith eats an uppercut. Estrada tried to follow with that right hand. Here comes Smith cracking back. Good combinations. They slugged in the middle of the ring. And now it is a slugfest. Smith opens up. Maybe his best moments of the fight. Was it enough to steal the round?
That is a very close round. Certainly the best round for Chris Smith.
Get a couple of deep breaths, baby.
That's how you fight. This guy can't take it to the body, you hear me?
A couple of deep breaths, baby.
Gotta step it up, baby.
How you
This is
feeling?
yours.
All right. No. let me see you going to the body, then you got twist up to the head. Bam, 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 right hand. Now, we got 2 jab down, 1 jab down, right hand over from this round, in between. Hey, double jab up, right hand down, right hand, in between like we've been walking with just now. And he cannot take a left uppercut. He power temp on the right side. So let me see it digging the left uppercut. Jab right hand, left uppercut right hand. But stay in the body. Drink a little bit. Come on.
At his chest, Chris.
You understand?
Great.
Reginald Ford was maybe trying to build some confidence. I don't know how you could say David Estrada can't take a left uppercut. He hasn't been hit with one that I could see. Maybe,
I agree.
Maybe Smith, with his best landing in terms of percentage there, his connect rate in the 5th round. They want Smith to jab. There's that right hand. And now it's Estrada in close. Backing off again. Smith getting much more aggressive here. Now he'll try that left hook to the body. So Smith with some rapid fire punching of his own. And out of the clinch with that left hook that landed. But Estrada is undeterred. His hands are down. He's looking for a big right hand. Both corners want their guys to work behind that jab. Estrada hasn't done it a lot this fight, but he has been terribly effective. There's that left hook as he doubles up beautifully. Smith tries the uppercut. Tries the body. Trying to work over Estrada.
Keep digging, don't let him get away. There you go.
They want Smith to trap Estrada. Good idea or bad idea, Steve?
Even these shots Smith is landing, there's no extension on him. It just seems like there's nothing behind him.
Looks like Estrada may have taken some of that round off, but now he comes back with a vengeance. Right hands from David Estrada. Left hook. Smith continues to forge ahead.
And again, subtle lateral movement. Doesn't have to be a guy jumping up down on his toes. Subtle one-step lateral movement from Estrada. It's done wonders for him offensively and defensively.
Really has. Smith unable to really hit Estrada flush as a result. Estrada switching up now out of the southpaw stance. Now he's back conventionally. Smith trying to draw a bead on him. Takes that Estrada left hook on the gloves. Partially blocks Estrada's right hand. Estrada slowing down ever a bit so much, and justifiably so, Steve. It's Smith's opportunity, perhaps. Estrada rocket left hook. Double hook from Smith.
Yeah, nice combination. All of a sudden, the last 10 seconds, we've seen a little more oomph on Smith's punches.
A round that Chris Smith may very well have won.
Show.com now brings you closer to the world of Showtime Championship boxing than ever before. Log on to see exclusive hard-hitting video, in-depth fighter stats, and our all-new photo gallery. With Show.com, you can take part in the hottest boxing topics with our interactive poll. And you can have your voice heard by voting for your favorite boxing moments. And don't forget to sign up for wireless updates to get boxing trivia and fight week information sent directly to your cell phone. Show.com, the internet's undisputed champion.
Let him breathe. Come here. Come here, baby.
How you doing, David? All right?
You gotta keep pushing, and don't back. You don't have to back up.
Tell you, this is what I want to see. We got this.
Down the pipe, baby.
Hello, we got this fucker now. Let's take him out.
Might be wishful thinking, but really Smith did have a credible 6th round. A good one, I thought. Looking at Angelo Dundee, Steve, if I ever saw a guy more in his element in life doing anything, it's him.
More than me at the racetrack? Well, maybe. Two good jabs by Smith.
Smith looking sharper.
Showing something new, huh?
They don't want Estrada to back off an inch. He will never surrender around, but his work rate fell off there in the 6th. We're halfway home, Steve. How do you have it?
I gave, since they were 2 close rounds, I have it 58-55. Excuse me, 58-56 for Estrada.
Estrada on the right. Now he's southpaw. Not looking as effective from the southpaw position.
You know, Nick, a lot of times in fights where there are this many punches thrown, it's very hard to score. That was not the case in the first 4 rounds. Estrada clearly landed the harder, bigger shots.
Yeah, he swept them to me.
Yeah, 5 and 6 were close, though.
Chris Smith now happy to duke it out, but oh, he takes a lightning combination from Smith, and he's from Estrada, and he's down.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Smith is dazed.
Walk to me, David. Come on.
And just halfway through the 7th, it was that cleanup shot really from Estrada, and now he is going to punish Smith and go for the kill. Smith with a lot in his, not much left in his tank, and Estrada reloading and firing bullets.
Step out, David.
Second knockdown of Chris Smith's career.
Oh, a hellacious right cross to the body. Smith backing up and in trouble. Nothing on his shots, no defense, nothing coming back from Chris Smith. He's in danger, as Steve Smoger says, fight back, or he'll pull the plug on this. Oh, Estrada's got time. He really should finish him here.
Neutral corner. Neutral corner.
Mouthpiece is out.
Big break.
Your man's mouthpiece.
Big break for Smith, and it was Estrada's mouthpiece, so you can't accuse Smith of spitting out the piece to buy time.
Chris Smith is revving himself up in the corner here, trying to juice himself back into this fight with under a half minute to go, and now it's Smith launching into this final desperate bid to get some attention and respect from David Estrada. Estrada had him on the hook, man, he really did, but Smith wiggled off. Survived the knockdown and losing a 10-8 round to slip dangerously behind in this fight, but he is still alive after 7.
No. Where's Alessi? Mike, where's Alessi? Alessi.
Sit down, sit down, sit down. Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down.
Let's go, Doc.
Put it. Let me go. Sit down. Deep breathe. Deep breathe. How you feeling?
Let's get to work.
How you feeling? All right. Well, this is what I want to hear. The doctor gonna ask you some questions. I want you to answer him. Deep breathe, son. Deep breathe. Talk it up. Deep breathe. You're gonna catch it coming at you now. I want to see the 1, 2. Deep breathe. Deep breathe. How you feeling? All right.
Where are we?
In round 7 of this fight, Chris Smith suffers the second knockdown of his career. It's a lot of shots. It's accumulation. Started out with a left-right. He's already been hurt. And you saw really a 3-punch combination put him down. 1, 2. The right hand was the big shot. You saw Smith's head snap back. Hey, miracle that he finished this round. Look how hurt he was. That was no flash knockdown.
In his mouth. Put the piece in his mouth.
The doctor was in the, he's still in the corner right now. Dr. Anthony Alessi.
Wipe this up.
Asking Chris Smith if he knew where he was.
Wipe this up. Wipe this up. Time in. Roll the clock.
Well, he answered Mohegan's son. That's where we are.
Hands up. Come on.
Can Chris Smith go on? He was dazed and down in the 7th. David Estrada looking to finish him off. There is no question about this, Steve.
Well, that's the question now. Does Estrada go for it? Or does he just try to put his punches together and sort of try for the same situation that got Smith in trouble in round 7?
Well, Steve, how do you know when a guy is... You certainly know he's dazed. There he got clipped with a lead right and another right. Now Estrada's got to sense blood here. He's driving punches through. Smith soaking up too much punishment, it seems, but firing back as he seems to have gotten his legs under him again.
Well, Chris Smith's eyes look okay. They're not glazed. They were glazed earlier in the fight.
Minute into round number 8, and Estrada battles forward. He's on the right. He's had his man down in the last round, and he's comfortably ahead, we could say, we could assume anyway.
You know, it's funny, Nick. Estrada switches from orthodox to southpaw. He says it's instinctive, but he's very good at it because he never gets caught in the middle, yet he's always in position when he switches to land his own shots. Smith coming forward. He's been the guy getting hurt.
Oh, left hook from Estrada. Another left hook. Estrada trying to weave and maybe bob under some shots, but not showing Chris Smith much respect.
No, he's not. And you know what? He doesn't need to, because right now, Chris Smith can throw all the shots he wants. He doesn't have the clout, the power to throw anything to scare Estrada or to discourage Estrada. Boy, going in, we thought these two guys were pretty close in punching power. Has not been the case. Estrada's the much harder puncher tonight.
Smith eats a right hand as they exchange. Estrada double hook, hands down. Trying to avoid shots simply by rolling under them. He'll just back off, and now a clubbing overhand right. Estrada winging shots. Lost a little zip on his punches, and why not? He's thrown so many. After 8, Chris Smith's going to need a knockout or a couple of knockdowns.
I gotta get more right hand. Come. I got to get more.
Between his head.
Come on. More guys. You gotta become the right hand, Chris. Use it right. You got to use the right hand more often, Chris. We ain't using it sufficient. I want the jab to the body, right hand over. Chris, give me one time, you give me for the night. Push the jab in the body, right hand over. Push the jab in the body, right hand over. This is what I want to see. This is what I want to see. Deep breathe. How you feeling?
Guy. We need a knockout to
Now
win.
you got to show him your champion.
It's left, baby. You got 4 fucking rounds left.
All you got. You got 12 minutes.
Take a rest. You move around. Give him face and move around. Nothing wrong with that.
Angelo Dundee adamant as we were looking at Chris Smith's corner when we went back. Dundee, Steve, wants him to back this guy up and be more aggressive. Basically, I think he's saying you could take him out. And as fight fans at ringside, I love it. The fact that he wouldn't be asking him to back off, and we wouldn't expect him to. And here we see Estrada fighting with that fire. And backing off is Chris Smith. Smith's just getting outgunned. Booming right hands from Estrada. He's in close.
Smith's corner, honest with him, told him he needed a knockout to win. Even though there are 4 rounds to go, even if Smith sweeps the last 4, wouldn't be enough on my card. I have him down 5 points.
Wow. Smith walking forward and running into shots. But the clear instructions from Estrada's corner is back Smith up. Get him to back off. Take away any kind of momentum he may be gathering. Steve, how does Smith possibly catch a second wind?
I don't really even think energy's the problem. I just don't see any power in his shots. Look at him walking forward, staying close, but he hasn't landed more than 3-4 shots that you could say were big punches.
You never go, no, you know, when we spoke to him yesterday, he clearly believed he was the bigger puncher.
And you wonder about Estrada's chin. Well, Estrada's been down 1 time in his career. That was against Armando Velardes, and it happened about 15 seconds into the fight. Clearly a flash knockdown, so he's got a good chin.
And here comes Estrada with a rapid fire attack. as he lands at will to the chin and face of Chris Smith. But Smith valiantly pressing forward, hoping to create some kind of opening and get enormously lucky. But he's got to keep punching to do it as they wrestle around inside a minute to go in the ninth. And there's the elbow from Smith. There's the overhand right from Estrada. Estrada's hands just down, trying to weave around those shots. Very little regard for Smith as Smith runs into a right hand. Oh, nice body work from Estrada. Sweet.
And you see him take 2 steps back, reload, and he's at a good distance to land his shots after taking those 2 steps back.
Exactly, Steve. Smith with a flurry, but not much on any of those.
Don't you back up! Amateur fight, baby, amateur fight. Back up, you take it to the sucker. Deep breath. 3 rounds. We only got 9 minutes, baby.
Yeah, 2 more rounds. 3 more rounds, baby. And look, you got to keep those hands up. Every time you do it, drop your hands and you get hit. What's up with that, baby? Come on. You know better.
Him with every shot you're hitting him with. You're hurting him.
You hurt him all the time.
When he leans,
Action from round 9. Estrada baby punches, and then he loads up. Very smart to change the pace of the speed of the punches. Just as Chris Smith got comfortable with those little baby shots, nothing to worry about. Boom, big left hand. And the body shots, the left hook has been a constant for David Estrada from round 1 in this fight.
3 rounds, you gotta get it.
Angie, let's go, Angie.
Smith just doesn't have an answer. He looks disconsolate in the corner. Continues to try, probe, find an opening, create something, but it just isn't happening. As David Estrada's had it basically his way. He had Chris Smith down in the 7th.
When you think back, Nick, to that 7th round, would you have given Smith much of a chance of still being around here?
No way.
He looked finished, didn't he?
No way, yes, exactly. Steve Smoger was in his ear, and I really questioned whether he would even get up off his knee.
Well, yeah, because he didn't get right up. He didn't look too good when he got up. And then, you know, the mouthpiece of Estrada came out. That may have saved Smith from being stopped in that round. And the knockdown came in the last minute of the round. That helped him as well.
Absolutely. Here comes Smith trying to launch some kind of an assault, putting punches together. Now it's Estrada letting his hands go.
Not as much. Yeah, not as much on Estrada's shots right now. He has slowed in this fight, but I felt it was very important for Estrada to get off to a lead. He did, and he got off to enough of a lead where Smith didn't have enough to come back in the last half of the fight.
Right, and uncharacteristically for Smith, of course, playing such catch-up, this is a guy who systematically breaks a guy down. And Steve, a guy who looks as fresh usually in the 10th round as he does in the 1st. Let's see if Smith could somehow suck it up and find again that second wind. Not, again, as you mentioned, as if it's going to do any good.
Well, that's the thing. He needs a knockout. I say that knowing, of course, that we are not the official judges of this fight, as we're often reminded by the judges themselves.
Smith taking so much punishment, but you know, his face relatively unmarked. You said his eyes look pretty clear. He's certainly getting the worst of it repeatedly in this fight as Estrada continues to land.
Estrada, Nick, from the beginning of this fight, has dictated the geography of the ring. He's the one stepping. Smith has only come forward. No other kind of movement, no side-to-side movement. He's never boxed from a distance. There you see him jabbing from a distance, but that's been rare.
Right.
Estrada's subtle movement has been very, very key.
Oh, that was the best shot Chris Smith has thrown in half a dozen rounds. A straight right hand to Estrada's face, which seemed to just wake up David a little bit more, as now he's firing combinations down the stretch and staring down Chris Smith.
That's it, son. That's it. That's it. 2 more to go. 2 more to go. Deep breathe. Deep breathe. Close your eyes. Deep breathe. How you feeling? All right. Well, we got 2 more rounds for soccer, Chris. You got to take him. These 2 rounds, I want you to beat him up. Take your time. Put on your foot. Turn your foot on your punches. You just swing in your hand. Turn into it with your foot. I want to see the jab to body and right hand to head. Jab to body and right hand to head. This is what I want to see.
Action from round 10. Smith has landed his share of shots, but very few as effective as that. Why was that left-right so effective? He had a little bit of room to punch. He was able to extend his arms.
Got to suck it up.
Let's go, baby.
Which is essentially what Reginald Ford, his trainer, just told him. Put them together, but you got to put some big shots together. Estrada looks clearly unfazed. Smith coming out with some vigor. He's on the right. Estrada avoiding shots and coming back, countering nicely. Boy, Steve, you're right. We talked about Steve Smoger not having to break these guys. He really hasn't. Even though they're both clearly getting drained.
Well, it's to the fighter's credit that they haven't had to be broken. It's really to Smith's credit, because he was the one, especially in the first half of the fight, taking the punishment. But, you know, there's nothing worse than a referee, an overactive or overzealous referee, ruining a good fight. Smoger's let these guys fight.
Sure
and they've done it in a clean manner.
Smith actually has never been, well, yes, he was 12 rounds. Probably one of his best wins since
Smith's hurt.
Fernandez.
Yeah, badly hurt.
Smith is hurt. Here we see Estrada unloading some thunder here. He's got plenty of free shots. Very compact, picking them, looking for the openings. There's a big right hand, and Steve Smoger has seen enough. Chris Smith finishes on his feet.
I was watching. I was looking. Oh, shit. I was looking. Too much. I was looking.
Too much. Too much.
I was looking.
Too much.
I was watching.
Too many headshots.
Steve Smoger said the right thing, Steve.
Chris Smith kept saying, I was looking, meaning I was seeing the shots coming.
There is nothing coming back.
Excuse me, man. Hey. What do you think about that? Whatever. Hey.
Hey, Lou DeBella said, do you want to fight Oscar De La Hoya?
I think he said Shane Mosley.
I know. He did say, right. Bring him on, right?
You want Shane Mosley, you want the biggest money. You know, play it up, baby.
Ah,
Tony.
little coaching.
Tony, does your mouthpiece out? Good. Get some deep breaths from me.
No, I was watching.
Just control it.
I'm good. Yeah, I was definitely watching what was going on.
I want more. I want more.
Angelo Dundee, basically this is still an unfinished painting, David Estrada.
But you said you were going to do, buddy.
He always does.
Always back my shit. This guy ain't that easy to stop. You stopped. You took everything out.
Hey, good fight, man. Tough fight. Much respect, bro. Much respect.
This is action from round 7, the one knockdown in the fight. The right hand of Estrada was right on the button. That's what brought it. But you know what? Estrada threw in combination the whole fight. Just like Sechew Powell did in the first fight. He just never one shot at a time. And Nick and I can't believe that Chris Smith finished the round. And here's the end of the fight. It was a right and a left hook. Again, all in combination. And now Estrada knows he's going for it. Nothing to come back. The problem here is Chris Smith falls back to the ropes, never holds, doesn't punch back. You don't give the referee much of a choice when you're not holding or punching back. Even if Estrada doesn't land all these shots, Smoger's looking. He's looking for an excuse to let Smith keep going. That right hand was enough. Hey, Smith never held. He may have been seeing the punches, but if you don't hold and you don't punch back, the referee's going to stop the fight.
Joe Antonacci makes it official.
Boxing fans, your time, 1 minute and 11 seconds of the 11th round. Referee Steve Smoger halts the contest. Your winner by technical knockout, David Estrada.
No doubt about this one. David Estrada.
And also a very
he talked about Chris Smith showing him nothing, that perhaps this was just another fight, that he was clearly not a formidable opponent, that he really had disdain or certainly didn't have a lot of respect, but clearly, Steve Farhood, this was an enormous win for David Estrada.
And all I could say is I'm glad we gave David Estrada another chance after that dismal performance against Sechew Smith. He's now shined against 2 unbeaten fighters in a row, and David Estrada is going to be the #2 IBF welterweight, and he's looking at a title fight within a year or so, and against the right style of opponent. Boy, anybody that doesn't move a lot, Estrada's going to give him a lot of trouble.
Well, one of the things, Steve, not to nitpick, but again, I just touched on the fact that this is an unfinished painting. If you're talking about a masterpiece from Angelo Dundee, perhaps, what's still missing from Estrada? He said, I want more, I want more.
I think even though he said he wasn't himself when he fought Sechew Smith, and he wasn't himself, you could see where movement and fighters who won't only fight on the inside will give him a little more trouble. He's masterful at changing angles when he's in close, getting extension when he wants it. But I think if you maybe frustrate him with a little bit of movement the way a Corey Spinks would, of course Corey Spinks would frustrate anybody, but that I think is the style that would give Estrada the most problems.
You know, to Chris Smith for a moment, valiant, he certainly had his wits about him. He was down for the first time in his career, loses, but a very significant step back. Not a disgrace to lose to Estrada, but
No.
Where does he go?
Well, the point is that Estrada had fought the better competition coming in, Nick. Chris Smith, this was a big step up, and he wasn't able to make it. So it makes you wonder, is he as good as his record?
Yeah, he couldn't make the changes. David Estrada did just about everything right tonight in the main event that was hotly anticipated and conclusively won by David Estrada. So wrapping up the night here at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, it started out with a polished performance from Sechew Powell, taking out Patrick Thompson.
Boy, did Powell look a lot better in his second Shobox appearance than he did in his first against the substitute in Thompson. He really showed what a good boxer he is, and he's a southpaw. A lot of people won't want to fight this guy, believe me.
And then David Estrada scoring a knockdown in the 7th and a stoppage here, a TKO victory over Chris Smith, who loses for the first time.
It was really Estrada early, Estrada middle, Estrada late. Smith might have won a couple of rounds. Estrada was the stronger guy, the harder puncher, the better boxer. He's earned his rating in the IBF.
And the question's been answered. We will want to see him again. We're back in 2 weeks on Friday, February 4th with an all-junior welterweight card. Oscar Diaz squares off against Al Speedy Gonzalez. Then, undefeated professional and 96 U.S. Olympian David Diaz takes on once-beaten Kendall Holt. Friday night, February 4th. And on Saturday the 5th, it's the return of America's Fight Night. Showtime Championship Boxing presents the rematch between undisputed welterweight champion Corey Spinks and former junior welterweight king Zab Judah, 9 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. And that'll do it for another edition of Shobox, The New Generation. The executive producer of Shobox is Gordon Hall. Shobox is produced by Richard Gaughan and directed by Philip Murray. So for Steve Farhood and our entire crew, this is Nick Charles saying so long from Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. We'll see you in just 2 weeks from Foxwoods.